Yo, Dorki here. Welcome to my Brewmaster guide for Dragonflight. I will mostly be covering M+ specifically. If you are completely new to the game or of a class, you might want to start off by checking out a Wowhead guide to learn the basics. Here is my recommended Brewmaster talent build. On the main tree, we can use Close to Heart, or we can take this out and we can go for Bounce Back, or we could do Generous Pour for the avoidance for your team, or you could do Improve Roll if you really want that extra roll. For the Brewmaster tree, this will be a little bit flexible. We have 2 points we can spend into High Tolerance, or we could get Attenuation, Chi Surge, Blackout Combo, and Pretense of Instability. This has gotten buffed and might be really good. We could also go for Fundamental Observation if we need Zen Med as an extra defensive. For this node, we can choose between Black Ox Brew or Bob and Weave. Both are pretty good choices. And over here, even though Rushing Jadewind is better, if you find that the extra keybind is too much, you could go for Special Delivery. For stats, item level will be king as usual, but Verse and Crit are equally good, and Mastery is right up there but a little bit less valued. Let's cover what are the important things to track for Brewmaster and Dragonflight. With this build in particular, the most important things to track will be your Stagger, Rushing Jadewind, Charred Passions, and your Purified Chi stacks for Celestial Brew. And as usual, track all your important CDs. Brewmaster does have a lot more of them now. Rotationally, Brewmaster is a lot busier than before. You will want to go into pulls with Rushing Jadewind up, Keg Smash first, Breath of Fire to proc Charred Passions, then prioritize putting Blackout Kick and Keg Smash on cooldown. From here, you either Spinning Crane Kick on 3+ targets, prioritize Spinning Crane Kick over Rising Sun Kick. Your goal is to maintain 100% uptime on both Rushing Jadewind and Charred Passions. However, try your best to refresh at the very last second so you can fit in as many globals as you can. You will find yourself hungry for globals, especially when you try to defensively fit in Expel Harms and Celestial Brew. For offensive CDs, you will want to Keg Smash before using Weapons of Order. Make sure to have Rushing Jadewind and Charred Passions up before using the Bone Dust Brew and Exploding Keg combo. You will want to put up both buffs, Blackout Kick, Bone Dust Brew, Exploding Keg, Spinning Crane Kick, then Blackout Kick one more time during the Spinning Crane Kick combo. This will fit in as much damage as possible into your Exploding Keg window. On the topic of using Tiger Palm, I haven't mentioned using Tiger Palm in my rotation because of Spinning Crane Kick doing more damage on single target with Charred Passions up. However, you will want to use Tiger Palm because of the reduced cooldown component on Tiger Palm. It is much better to use defensively over Spinning Crane Kick, but will also require you to use another keybind. Playing Special Delivery over Rushing Jadewind will also free up globals, keybinds, and less thinking about keeping a buff up if you would rather play Special Delivery. For setting up pulls, Chi Wave will be your main ability to pull from afar. Crackling Jade Lightning to pull is bad because of the short channeling component, but of course if you have to, use it as your second way of pulling from range. Always tag as many mobs as possible with Keg Smash, Spinning Crane Kick, and Blackout Kick. Keep your buffs rolling while grouping them up as well. Defensively, the way you play Brew will depend heavily on the content you are doing. Let's first talk about Stagger and how it'll affect your gameplay. When starting out, you will notice that your Stagger isn't going up much, but you are taking a lot of damage. This will be very common because of the lack of gear and hard hitting mobs. Brewmaster starts to shine when fully geared and doing content where mobs hit very hard. The harder you get hit, the bigger your purifies are, and the more gift of the Ox Orb spawns, and the more value you get out of Celestial Brew. When doing lower level content where you won't be able to consistently get to Red Stagger, you want to just keep Celestial Brew and Purifying Brew on cooldown. On lower level content, you will be much more reliant on your healer to keep you up. However, once you start entering challenging content with real gear, you will want to start delaying your Celestial Brew for Purify stacks. Keep your first charge of Purifying Brew on cooldown, ideally on Red Stagger, and delay your second one till your Stagger builds high. Keep in mind, Gaiplin is a large source of your healing now, so try to purify as high of Stagger as possible and when your HP is as low as possible. Celestial Brew should ideally be used at 9 or more Chi stacks now. Starting off pulls without anything can be rough, so you will want to generally start with some type of defensive up. Fortifying Brew, Dampen Harm, a defensive trinket, or calling for an external are usually the best ways of getting a pull started. Once you get started, your main source of survival will be Expel Harm healings, big Celestial Brews, and large Purifies. When that all runs out and your Stagger starts to build high, kite with Ring of Peace or any slows that your team might have. So to sum things up, it will look like start with big defensive, purify to a big Celestial Brew, Expel Harm, and purifies in between till you run out of brews or orbs, then start kiting and using another defensive if you really have to. When facing hard-hitting magic mobs, you should have a lot of coverage with Celestial Brew, Diffuse Magic, and Celestial Brew again when it comes up. If the frequency of the attack is too often, you will have Dampen, Fortifying Brew, or even Zen Med in between to take more hits. Diffuse magic can be used in a lot of ways to remove nasty magic debuffs, and in some situations even do a lot of damage back to the mobs. Just remember, Zen Med can also be used as another defensive, especially when spec'd into fundamental observation. If you ever encounter a situation where you struggle to survive, be creative and try to figure out your cooldowns well. This is the hardest part of playing Brew properly. For utility, just make sure you always use your multiple stops. Ring of Peace, Leg Sweep, and Paralysis can be used to stop dangerous casts. Anyways, that is all for the video. Brewmaster is a fun tank that can be hard to play properly, but when played well, it is extremely rewarding. Thanks for watching, have fun in Dragonflight.